I'm, I'm sitting here with Congressman Sean Maloney of New York. It's great to see you. Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.
Let's first talk about who you are bringing to the big event tonight. I know you have a local executive from Planned Parenthood who will be your guest. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, it's a woman named Ruth Ann Blodgett. She runs Planned Parenthood just above New York City in the Hudson Valley. Serve about 40,000 people a year. And they do great work. And the message is there are real people behind these decisions. There are 40,000 families that get basic health care, that get cancer screenings, that get really good service from Planned Parenthood. So before we go, trashing it and taking away its funding, you should see those faces.
Let's talk a little bit about the Republican-led effort to defund Planned Parenthood. We've heard through reporting in recent weeks that Republicans may be backing off of that, understanding that it may not be politically advantageous going into 2018. Where do you think they are on this, and how confident are you that Planned Parenthood funding is safe?
Well, there's a lot of backing off, isn't there? Talk is cheap, but when you get into health care, and if you did 4 town halls like I did last weekend, and you're talking to moms who say, my 19-year-old has had cancer twice and he's lost a leg and we're scared to death about going backwards on pre-existing conditions or on other things, it gets real hard to be cavalier. And I think these Republican members of Congress, whether it's health care or whether it's immigration or whether it's things like Planned Parenthood, they're starting to realize that these organizations exist for a reason. These efforts exist for a reason. And they better sober up before they start hurting real people.
What of the town halls? We hear that they are fractious, that they are loud, that they are noisy. Do you think being in the House, being in the rabble-rousing House, are they changing Republicans' minds as far as legislation and where they want to position themselves?
They are all of those things. But then so is democracy, right? It's supposed to be. And I give credit to those Republicans who've been doing them. Shame on those who haven't. But I will tell you, it's holding their feet to the fire. It's making them see the faces and the consequences of some of these things they're getting ready to do. That's a good thing. They can still be, whoever they want to be. That's up to them. And they'll stand for election next year. But the fact is that I have never seen this level of engagement. I just told you I did 4 town halls. They're all new faces. These are all people who have not been coming out before. And they are not all Democrats. I am from a district that Donald Trump won. I'm one of 12 Democrats in the House. And I will tell you, a lot of them say we didn't sign up for this stuff. We wanted change, or we didn't like Hillary, or we wanted to bring jobs back. There were a lot of things the president said that were attractive to them. And they're wondering what's going on with things like, a Muslim ban, or things like some of his rhetoric about Nordstrom's, or calling the press the enemy of the American people. That's not what they voted for. And so I think these Republican members of Congress are trying to understand where that fault line is, and some of them may fall into it if they're not careful.
Are you worried that Democrats may overstep in terms of obstruction or resistance to the Trump agenda leaning into 2018, where there may be some voters on the fence that they could bring to their side of the aisle?
Yes, I'm very worried about that. I don't want us to be like they were. Let me be really clear. And what I said to my liberal activists this weekend was, you can do better than the Tea Party. This indivisible stuff is great, but we can do better than the Tea Party. Let's not just be about trying to make a president fail. Let's not just be about trying to tear down something. Let's build something. Let's bring new people into this process, and let's have ideas of our own. And let's be respectful about it, but let's be passionate. And I do think that's why I'm concerned about some of the talk of impeachment. I'd much rather have an independent investigation to find out what the Russians did in our election and then follow the facts. I don't want to prejudge it by saying impeach now. I'm worried about things like concerns about the money we're spending on the president's security. We can afford to protect our president. Democrats should settle down about how much they dislike the president and focus on issues, because the issues are powerful, whether it's health care or immigration or the economy. These guys don't have good ideas, and we should let that play out.
Are you on Russia, because you mentioned it? Are you confident that the House Republicans can lead the investigation into this? Are you confident that Republicans on whole will dig in as far as they need to get to the truth?
I think they'll do it when they've exhausted every other possibility. And I think that right now they're hoping that the facts won't justify, a much bigger investigation. But of course you can't prejudge that. And my goodness, it's not like they didn't take some time to look into things like Fast and Furious or Benghazi. It is more than fair and not a partisan issue to say everyone is telling us, the FBI, the intelligence agencies, that the Russians directly hacked our election and had a candidate they favored. That's very serious. We should get to the bottom of it. And I do think you'll see some serious Republicans, particularly in the Senate, like John McCain or Lindsey Graham, if the facts justify it, call for the appropriate level of inquiry and next steps.
Let me ask you one last question. Just in terms of the mood among Democrats on the Hill, what is it leading into the event tonight?
Well, look, we all got the wind knocked out of us on November 8th. There's no doubt about it. And I think some people were going through those 5 stages of grief. But I'll tell you what, I felt a lot better the day after the inauguration when I saw that Women's March. And I think a lot of Democrats did. And it's been pretty good every day since, because you've seen so much engagement. You've seen so many people coming out and saying, we're concerned about this. We're going to participate in this. And I think if we let democracy work and we stay rooted in the Constitution, we're going to be okay.
Congressman Sean Maloney of New York, thanks for taking the time.
My pleasure.
Back over to you, Rena and Errol.